All right, welcome back. This is To Hell with the Podcast. And today we are going to be diving into a project that's being called probably the most personal and spiritual resonant work of a career that spanned over 4 decades. And we all know him, Michael Sweet. He's the voice, the songwriter, the driving force behind Striper. But today, as we always do every fifth episode, we step away from the Striper uh, and now, album releases and move away from the rock anthems to look at the side projects. And episode 30 couldn't have fallen at a better time because just this past Friday the master plan was released, which was April 3rd, just a few days ago. Michael Sweet's brand new solo album, and it's officially arrived. We have spent the past few days listening to this pretty much in depth, from the soulful, worship-driven vibes of Lord and Believer to the soaring title track. Michael has traded some of the heavy rock that we're used to for a more inspirational worship type of album. It's a departure, leaning into more acoustic textures, brass sections, and a deep devotional heart. But is this what we've been looking for, what we've been waiting for, or do we miss the shredding? Today, we're going to be breaking this down. We're going to be breaking down the track list, the production, and the message behind the master plan. And here we go. I'm your host, Tim. You're listening to The Hell with the Podcast, and I'm here with Daryl. How are you, man?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about this. I found some little nuggets that I wasn't aware of when I started looking into this. This thing is, it's just overall thoughts. I'm going to just go into it. This thing is fun. And you can tell that the people that were creating this were having fun. And it's not a Striper record. It's not a Michael Sweet solo record. It's just like it's a little bit off the beaten path. I did not have a skipper on this thing, and I'm just like I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, when I first listened to it, I woke up Friday morning, went out, listened to it. I texted you. It was probably 7 a.m. I'm listening to this thing right now. So I listened to it then, and I probably listened to it about 5 or 6 times on Friday because I have really enjoyed, like you said, listening to this album. And then I listened to it probably 3 or 4 times yesterday, which was Saturday. And then today, I've listened to it another 4 or 5 times. One of those times, which I know both of us did, we watched the listening party from Patreon, which gave some really cool nuggets, some confirmations on things that I was listening to it. We're not going to share the secret sauce from the Patreon thing because they really want to keep that for paying members. So we always respect what they do share on the Patreon. And unless it's something else that's out there or something else that maybe we were thinking as well. But if you are a Patreon member, go watch the listening party. They did that Friday night. He takes you track by track by this album. But I'll tell you this, I posted on my own personal Facebook page, and I did it on To Hell with the Podcast as well. But this album, I had the expectation here of what I was expecting, but I was just blown away. To me, this album is phenomenal. And that's what I said the other day. And like you, I kept waiting for a track to be like, well, I don't, maybe this will be a skipper, maybe this one or whatever. But it's like each song stands out on its own. It's not, like you said, it's not a typical Striper album. It's not a typical Michael Sweet solo album. There's some vibes of some stuff that I felt like maybe were earlier career Michael Sweet solo, like hearing a song vocally or maybe hearing the guitar. It kind of reminded me of a couple of his earlier stuff. But I've had not just a blast listening to this album, but just the message behind this album too. It's just so inspiring. At one point, I was almost in tears over one of the songs because it was just touching me so much. And it's been a really fun record to listen to. But before we dive into it, can I talk about 2 things from the Striper desk real quick?
Please.
Okay. Oh, speaking of the master plan, the first thing I want to share our show is this. Michael Sweet, this was Friday, 118 in the afternoon. Yeah, 118 that afternoon. And let me Master Plan, number one bestseller in Christian rock and alternative music. So
Nice.
the day it was released. So he just speaks just wow. Thank you all. And I'm telling you, if you don't have this album, if you haven't listened to it, go buy it. I mean, to me, this is it was just phenomenal. But it's great to see that this album hit number one on the Christian rock and alternative.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was even talking to my mother this morning and like, "I'm gonna send this to you. You're gonna like it." It's just a fun listen. It's not heavy. There's there's not a lot of things like weighing down as far I mean, there's a couple songs that have some, heavier lyrics, but it's it's not a Striper record and it's not a Michael Sweet record. It's just a fun listen. 'Cause, we talked about it before, it's like, you hear certain songs and they just make you kinda happy, and there's a bunch of songs on here that just kinda, you know, just make me happy. It's and ly I
Yes.
mean, always lyrically, it's you're talking about Michael Sweet, he's always gonna write a freaking awesome song. I mean, I know everybody. We're doing a Stryper podcast, so but we're not always just the shills for Stryper, but Mike is a really good songwriter. So when I was listening to this, I was like, "Dang, yeah, this is not a Stryper record, but it's just I can put it on in the background and it's a really fun listen. There's you don't have to think about it too much. I mean, unless you're like really intently listening to the lyrics, which are, really good, but musically, it there's so many different flavors on this thing, and that's, what I was listening to for the most part. But I mean, the lyrics are awesome, but there's a lot. I always say this. There's a lot going on this record, and but not in the normal stance that I would say it as we're talking about a Stryper record.
Right.
This is this is a totally different path, and I'm here for it. And the personnel on this record, I was blown away when I started digging into this. There's people on here, and I was again just blown away by what they had done in their careers, and I actually had known a couple of those dudes, and I was like, "Holy crap, these guys are playing on this record," and I was I mean, there I don't really have any negative things to talk about this record because I've listened to it probably at least 6 times, and I'm really impressed, and I'm the more that we do this, the more I am just kinda blown away by Michael Sweet's songwriting. So, this thing was awesome, man. I really did have a good time listening to this and going through some of the details and just kinda dissecting some of the songs, and, I mean, there's a lot of songs on this record that made me smile.
But the master plan. Now, this, as you were saying, this is why I did it. Today, this afternoon, I hooked up my record player to my surround sound and I played this vinyl, and what a world of difference that made playing it through the surround system that I have. But with that in mind, this is why I buy the vinyl too. You open this thing up and you get all the lyrics here. And then, like you said, you get who was doing it here,
Liner notes,
liner
yes.
notes, and you've got a message from Michael, which I'm not going to read. You get the thank yous. But then one thing that I found really interesting, I'm going to put on my readers here real quick because, that's the problem with liners. They're so small, you can't read them. But the one thing, and he did, and I'm not giving anything away because he did confirm this in the Patreon when we were listening to it, but all vocals, Michael Sweet.
Yeah,
That's vocals and background vocals.
backups. Yeah,
Yeah, because
that was interesting.
he did say that there was a couple of people on the song Lord that, "Oh, you've got a female." He's like, "Nope, that's me." You know, he did every one of the background background vocals on this album as well. So this is truly outside of the bass player and the drummer. I mean, he was a guitarist. I mean, there was an additional guitar on there, but this was his album that he put together. And it's the sequencing of the album because when I listen to it, when I listen to the vinyl and you get to track number 5, and then you got to flip it and go to track number 6. You know, I thought that that was a great song to end side 1 on.
I hadn't thought about that. That's a good point.
Because when I had been listening, because I got the vinyl yesterday and I'd been listening to it on Spotify Friday through Saturday morning. Then I got it, and then I listened to it not hooked up to my surround sound, and it was like, oh, this sounds terrible because of the little tiny speakers that are probably the size of a quarter in the record player. But when I hooked it up this afternoon, I was listening to it. I put it in, and we my youngest son actually kicked my butt playing Monopoly, but that's another story for another day. I got to the end of that song, and then it just kind of dawned on me when the music stopped. I was like, "That's a great song to end side 1 on." And I
Yeah, you're
was
not
just like,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
"So
because
what
I
did you
mean,
find?" Go ahead. I was going to ask
well,
you a
I
question.
well, we don't listen to music like that anymore. So,
Mm-mm.
the fact that, you know, you pick up the ending song of side 1 and flip it in your opening side 2, and so, yeah, I mean, the sequencing is very important if you're gonna release a vinyl, and it's just not how we listen to stuff anymore. It's like, okay, it's all on Spotify, so just go do that, but yeah, that's a
Because
great point.
I started thinking about it. Because like one of the things that I know that you have always said is, a great one thing that you feel like it's going to be a great Striper album is it opens with a banger and ends with a banger. But then I started thinking, you know what? On To Hell with the Devil, track number 5 was The Way. So they ended side 1 with a banger before you had to flip it over and start sing along song is the opening one. And then the same thing on In God We Trust. And it's just like, I'm gonna have to go back and look and see what side 1 versus side 2 was, on all of those.
That's a great point, and now I'm gonna have to go back and look at all my Striper vinyls, like, how does this close side 1? And because people younger than us, they don't give a
They don't
crap
listen
about.
to it like that.
Yeah, they don't listen to the whole thing all the way through. It's just what's on Spotify, so but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Soldiers, The Rock That Makes Me Roll closes out side 1.
dude, that's insane. That's like one of my favorite Striper songs. So
Yeah. And so, and there is something to be said about, not just the closing track, but back in the day, how did you close out side 1? Did you close out side 1 with them wanting more, having to take the time to go over there and flip the album over and do the needle or exchange the tape
I
and
was gonna say, or turn the tape over.
fast forward the tape because you had a little bit of room left there at the end, to go to the end so you can flip it over and start all over again
And
on the other side.
God forbid, and we bring up 8-track, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's a story for another day. But let's get into the tracks because I mean the way that this is sequent. I mean the way that this lays out song after song after song on it. I know you've got your notes, I've got mine, and I mean he kicks off this album with the title track, which has been out for a couple of months now. I think it came out maybe end of January, beginning of February. So this one is probably the one that we're most familiar with because he released it a couple of months the before this past Friday, April 3rd. Oh, let me say this. We talked about this a little bit last week, and I think this is just the way that God can work on different things because Michael Sweet, he did a live event, so anybody can go listen to him. This wasn't on the Patreon listening party. And we talked about this last week about how this album was being released on the day that it was being released. And he goes, you know, it was just kind of funny. It was almost said like, well, I wish I had planned that, but it was, he said, when we submitted the album, for release, that was the time that was available for it, for an album to be, that's when we could make it happen, was April 3rd. I guess that was with working with Frontiers and working with all of that. So they said we could make April 3rd work. And then fast forward, we realized, wait a second, that's actually Good Friday, Resurrection Weekend, Easter weekend, all of that kind of stuff. So I just think it's cool how it wasn't planned, but that's how it worked out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I was going through this, and as a dude that plays music in church a lot, I was trying to go through this and like, all right, which one of these songs could I play in church? And I saw a couple, but I love the way that they laid this thing out, the way that I just have so many positive things to say about this, but I was like, well, I don't know if I can get up in front of a congregation and play any of these songs, but I like them all.
Yeah. I can tell you I couldn't play any of them, but we all know I'm not the musician.
Well, I
so.
mean, yeah. But yeah, there's not I mean, this first one is like, so it's just kind of I mean, Mike, I think actually used the word epic. It's just, once you get into it and get into the chorus, the production just kind of goes up a notch. And so, yeah, I mean, I love this first song.
Yeah, because I mean, I agree with you, because I mean, as this song goes, it builds as it gets to that bridge.
Yes.
And I know that he has said this before, that this song kind of has that Duran Duran Ordinary World type vibe to it. And I really feel that when it gets to the bridge, that's when you can really, I mean, not that it sounds exactly like Ordinary World, but you know that song, you're like, yeah, I can hear why he says that. But it's like, it's really slow and it's building and building. And then it just kind of crescendos with the bridge part of the song when it really gets into it. And I just think just the composition of how the music is composed on each one of these tracks, it's phenomenal. And I've already used that word once, but it's just phenomenal about how he put it together.
Well, here's a little nugget. Master Plan and Ordinary World are the same BPM.
Are they really?
Yeah. I think Ordinary World is -1, so they're one off of this record. So I can see why he would say that. And once of course, my stupid brain, I had to go look it up. And so yeah, this one is like, I think 1 BPM off of Ordinary World. So
yeah,
he's
this
not
part
wrong.
right here. Just how it builds into that. And I mean, I think the thing too with just how when you hear this, and I mean, even with the album cover, how everything is in his hands. That's just how I'm just taking this song right here, is that everything is in his hands.
I love that cover. We didn't talk about that. I love that cover.
Just give it to him. Everything is in his hands. And I love the opening track of this song. I mean, of this album.
It's as an opener, it's I mean, we always use the term banger, but it's not a banger, but it is like, okay, here's what we're doing. And to me, it's just it's a phenomenal opener, and it just sets the tone, because it does have an epic flavor to it. There's not a lot of other songs that have that kind of just bigness. Is that a word? Bigness to them, but
it won't be for today.
Well, I just thought this was like I just thought this was one of the biggest songs on the record. Not, I mean, it's not a heavy song. It's not a banger. It's just it it says a lot, and the production is pretty freaking awesome. And there's and it just kind of gets you into the vibe of the rest of the record. So
Yeah, it really does. Because I mean, I think with all the things, and you bring up something there, it gets you into a vibe with the rest of the record. I think that with how Michael spoke about this album, and was really setting the stage for, guys, this is an inspirational worship album. This is not a headbanger, heavy rock album. So going into this, I wasn't expecting any of that. I wasn't expecting any of that. So I wasn't like disappointed, like, where's the hard rock song or where's the rock song on this? Now, I had my fill. You know me. I love the guitar. The guitar solos on some of these songs were just, I just loved them. They just kind of fit right into the vibe of music that I mean, it's kind of funny. This album fits kind of into the vibe of stuff that I've been listening to lately. I haven't really been listening to the harder stuff. I've been listening to more adult oriented, melodic, that kind of sound going on. So when I heard this, it just kind of flowed with what I've been jamming out to lately anyway. But I think setting that expectation for the fans was like huge, because we didn't go in expecting to hear any rock songs. I mean, we did. I mean, we just didn't.
yeah, no, that's a fair point because excuse me, I wasn't looking for a Striper record here, and I wasn't looking for a Sweet Lynch or anything like that. I knew this
Exactly.
was going to be, you know, probably a little more chill. I mean, and he said it was going to be, a little more instru- blah, blah, inspirational record lyrically, and I was like, I was here for it. So I wasn't expecting it to be, just the rock that makes me roll or something like that. I was like, all right, let's see what you're doing here. And the flavors in this thing were just like, I was I really was enjoying some of this stuff because some of the vocal stuff that they put in here, I was absolutely digging it because it was just so different. It didn't sound like Striper, it didn't sound like Sweet, it didn't sound like Sweet Lynch. It was just something that was off the beaten path, and freaking I was digging it, man. And the production is freaking I love the production.
Yeah, I mean, the production on this again was an excellent job what him and Jeff Savage put down together. And then this is another song, Lord. It's the second track on the album, another one that we're familiar with because this was the second song that was released from the album. Or was it Again? No, this song came out before Again.
Yeah.
So this one I was very familiar with. So you had Master Plan, and then you had this song come out, and I just love the gospel kind of vibe as it gets into the chorus, and I mean, as he said earlier, I mean that
Stabby.
ooh that he just did, and what he does in the chorus, that's him doing the background vocals on it, and it's just lyrically, I mean, just like, if he's for us, who's against us? I mean, just pulling that, right out of the and the world is if he's for us, when we put our faith in his word, the world is a little bit easier. And I just thought about, man, my wife and I talk about that all the time because, I mean, we sit there, and some of the things that we talk about is, one of the things that we've always talked about is, okay, at the end of the day, because we know how people react in our nation when their guy doesn't get elected. We've seen it for the past 10 years, and they just, oh my God, the world is coming to an end. Oh, this is going to end. I mean, we saw it specifically in 2016. We saw it in 2020. We saw it in 2024. But the thing is, one of the things that my wife and I have always talked about is, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's the president the next day, because God is the one that's still on the throne. He's still going to be the one leading us. And like, this is that part that I just read. When we put our faith in his word, the world is a little bit easier. And that's just so true, because if you just have your faith in him, at the end of the day, yeah, things might get a little crazy, things might get a little tight or whatever going on with, and I love this guitar solo. This guitar solo here is
really
just
good.
phenomenal for me, but it is easy when you have your faith in his word, and you're walking with him and he's for us. Who's going to be against us? Joe Biden wasn't for us. Donald Trump's not for us. He doesn't know who I am. They don't know who I am. God does. And he's much bigger than any president. So it does get a little bit easier when you walk with him, in spite of the craziness.
Yeah, it's just, and I do this all the time. It's hard to get your mental space to what you were just saying, because you go downstairs and turn on the TV and you see all the I mean, we're at freaking war right now. So, but it's hard sometimes to wrap your mental space around, yeah, God's got it. We're going to be okay. And then you look at, freaking Fox News or, whatever channel you're looking at, and you just see all the bad stuff. But it's like, you do have to reset yourself sometimes. And I've had to do that multiple times, because, I will get into a political just
Ben.
yeah, absolutely, dude.
I'm not saying I've got it figured out. I'm just saying those are the things
Well,
that
I
my
know
wife
you
and
do
I
it
always have to
too, so
remind. We always have to remind ourselves about it.
yeah, totally. I mean, I know we both do that, because I mean, heck, I mean, we both follow politics, and so it's hard sometimes to get your head from being wrapped around that stuff, and yeah, it's kind of gnarly sometimes, and I'm just like, I feel dirty sometimes watching some of that stuff, and it's just like, it's you do have to reset yourself sometimes, and it's like, all right, you know what? I'm I'm gonna go pray, and God's God's gonna get me.
And
And
now we
so,
have
yeah,
a album by Michael Sweet to help us
yes,
when we
absolutely.
need to reset.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point, dude. This is a good record when you need to reset your brain, because like I say, it's an easy listen. There's no heavy songs on this. So, I mean, if you just listen to what's going on with the lyrics, and there's some great, I mean, really great vocals on some of this too, and it's 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 really cool to have a record like this where you actually can reset to be like, all right, screw politics, focus on God, and I'll be cool. And this record does. I think that would be a good reset.
The thing too that I liked about this album, and I don't mean to criticize or be critical about other styles of music, but this just didn't fit that when you hear the word worship album by an artist, a lot of worship albums sound the same. I mean, it's like, especially you go back 20 years and somebody would come out with a song, and then every artist wanted to do that song and do their own little spin, and then it just all sounded the same. And that's one of the things that I loved about this album, was that even though it's a worship inspirational album, it's not your normal worship inspirational album that you would go hear on the radio station, or you would go pick up or hear other songs on Spotify or whatever. It's just got such a different vibe to it, but it relates. It's inspiring, it's inspirational, it can lift your spirit up. And especially as you get into some of these next songs that just really make you want to put a smile on your face and do a little jig while you're listening to them.
You just use the word jig.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. As I'm looking at the song list, again, as a guy that plays in church, I don't think I could play more than 1 or 2 of these songs, in front of my congregation, but yes, if I'm listening to it at home, dude, like I say, it's just there's a lot of really good stuff going on here, but, um, yeah, it's a different path. So, I mean, it's like if I don't wanna play it at church. It's cool. I mean, it's a little bit I don't wanna use the word heavier, but it's just there's just a little more to it than your normal worship church songs. And so that's all I'll say, but if you wanna play it in your car, I man, I think that would be a great a great thing to be playing on your commute to the office.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it definitely, I mean, especially when you hear songs like this next one, Stronger, the third track.
Yeah, dude.
I mean,
I love this song.
give me your thoughts on this song, and I'll tell you mine as you go along.
I Well, it's kind of a theme going through this record. They interject these vocals because this one right here, once you get like towards the middle, it has a freaking Beatle vibe to it. And there's a few songs like that on here. I have it in my notes, but I mean, he did a really good job, like, or listen to the dang song, but because he's got some doo-wop kind of vocals in this thing, and I'm just like, okay, this is. It was him being like really creative, and the solo in this song is really good, but there's like just some punchy vocals throughout this whole record actually, but I don't know. I love what's going on here, because I could tell that he was thinking about what was going to happen next, and then we have the vocals, and there's a couple more songs we're going to talk about that have the same kind of swing and the punch vocals and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, come on,
Yeah, because when it gets into the chorus part of this album, I mean, of this song, like you said, with the doo-wops, or I said the bops and the song, when I was listening to it, I was like, gosh, that's right there in the song that you hear in the background. My first thought was, that is so Beatle-ish sounding when I first heard this song, and I just loved it. I mean, I'm not a huge Beatles fan, but I loved that vibe that he had going on with them, and I just thought it was it's a punchy, make you smile, and then you get into the lyrics of this one, and I mean, it's just like, hey, life is gonna throw you punches, but I mean, our strength comes from him, and we're stronger when we're with him. So I mean, it's just very, again, when life throws you the punches, you're gonna be stronger because you're with him. And I mean, that's just the way that I interpreted the song, and just to have that doo-wop bop type thing going on in the background, it just made it a happy, fun song to listen to.
Oh, it's such a fun song because it's got that cool swing to it, and then just the background stuff I really enjoyed that. I mean, I know Mike can sing and he can write a great song, but there's so much on here with that. There's so many details on this record. I mean, as a whole, not only on this song, but as a whole, it's like, I'm glad I listened to it like 6 different times because I'm hearing, different things. But yeah, this whole thing just has a cool vibe, and I love the Beatle kind of vocal vibe in here, and we see that a couple more times on this record. But this song is really cool, and it's got a really good guitar solo. So hey, I'm a fan.
It really does. And then you go from this song, and I love when you look at the sequence of this song, and you go from this song and you go to one of the two ballads on the album, and then you leave this song and you go to number 5, just the sequencing of 3, 4, and 5. And if you haven't heard the album yet, we're going to be getting to song number 5 here in just a minute. But the thing with this one, there was a couple of things with this particular song, and it's called Eternally. One, it's got the string composition in it. It's got the strings in it, and I love that. I mean, my gosh, the song just went, "Oh, I believe in you. I believe in you" had strings on it. That's one song I can remember that Stryper did have some strings in it, but the voice on this particular song, there's moments of this song that it actually reminds me a little of his vocal composure on a couple of songs from the album Truth, when he kind of goes a little bit deeper in his voice during the verses, not necessarily here during the chorus. But I was listening to it and I said, yeah, that to me that's to me, may not to anybody else, but as I listened to it, it reminded me a little bit of his vocal arrangement on some of the songs that he did on Truth, where he was a little bit deeper instead of at a little bit higher level. He was a little bit deeper on it. So it's just like, that's kind of, to me, it's got a little bit of a Truth vibe to it. But again, another great song, because I mean, song's called Eternally, but you're never alone. I mean, you and I, we've talked about this so many times before. When life is beating us down and we're in the dumps and we've got all this, at the end of the day, we've got the creator of the world on our side,
Yeah, no, for sure. I thought the story behind this was excuse me, that he had to change the freaking title of the song because of publishing.
Yeah. No, because there is another Michael Sweet song that's called Never Alone. And so he ended up changing it to Eternally.
Yeah, I thought that was a funny story. I was like, and that shows you how jacked the freaking music industry is, but hey.
I mean, your own song.
Yeah, but he had to change the title of the song to Eternally because he does say the freaking title of the other song like 50 times during the I believe. I was like, dang, dude, sorry you had to do that.
Yeah, that did not mean to come on. Hopefully you didn't hear that. Yeah, but Never Alone, that looks like, was that off of 10? Yeah. Yeah, I think Never Alone was off of 10.
I believe so, but don't put me on the spot. So, but yeah,
I'd say I'm going to go look at Wikipedia, but after what they did to you on the
God, yeah, I'm never trusting Wikipedia again. I mean, yeah, Wikipedia totally screwed me on this one. So,
sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
No, it's cool. I mean, it happens, dude. Anybody can go up there and edit anything.
Yeah. It looks like it was on 10. If somebody's listening and it's not, I mean, because this is what was amazing. I'll read this part of the liner notes. This was what blew me away when I read it. He said, I've made a lot of music over the years and recorded quite a few albums. Over 40 at this point. You take his solo albums, you take the Stryper albums, you take his side projects. I'm going to go count those up and see exactly how many albums it is. Now, he could be including the compilation, live albums. I don't know. But, I mean, you've got, 16 or 17 from Stryper alone at this point? You've got his solo stuff, Sweet and Lynch. I mean, it's amazing. When I saw that, I was like, so forgive me for not knowing exactly the album Never Alone was on again.
Well, no, if you think about it there, that sounds about right. I mean,
yeah.
If you compile everything that he's done, yeah, that sounds like a decent number. I mean, that a legit number, I guess I should say. But yeah, it's when you get to the point where your whole job is being a creative, and I have a few friends that are like that. They their brain just does not freaking stop. So they're always doing stuff. I mean, I have a friend that's an artist, and his brain, he's it it's not annoying because I wish I could do stuff like that, but but, yeah, people like that, their brain never stops and they're always creating. So, yeah, that I mean, that number doesn't surprise me, actually.
Yeah, it didn't surprise me either. But when I saw it at first, when I first read it, I was like, 40? I mean, 10 songs an album, that's 400 songs.
Well think about the God, what's the word?
I'm gonna have to go in and count just so I can just put it aside, like how many songs, how many albums, not that I'm not saying I don't believe him, but when I saw that, I was just like, how many, it just made me think, how many songs has he written? How many songs has he composed? And it's just like, I was just like,
Well, I'm sitting here looking at my stuff behind me, and I'm like, "How many songs has Prince written and recorded?" I mean, it's probably the same creatives are freaking weird, and so because their brains are always popping, and I'm just like, "Man, I'm glad you can do that because I don't have that talent." So, yeah, it's wouldn't surprise me at all if that were an accurate count. There's just certain artists that, I mean, they can't stop doing stuff, and I think Mike's probably one of them.
yeah, I
So,
think I mean, I've heard him say, if I remember correctly, I hope I'm remembering correctly, that he's just always is one of those guys that has a song in his head and it's just, always got to, and I think that's why he can go in and write an album in 10 days and just
yeah,
get it done, where other people it takes them years to get it
yeah,
done. So,
yeah. See
but
this see the spaghetti incident from Guns N' Roses that took 10 freaking years to release.
I'm going to move into song number 5, and I'm going to tell you this is one of my favorites off of the album. You Lead, I'll Follow.
This is a good
Because
one. This
this song, go ahead.
this is one of my favorites as well. Just the swing
I mean,
and the
I'm sitting here
freaking
bouncing my head, and you're talking. I'm bouncing. You just can't help but move to this
and you got
song because it just makes you happy as well.
well, and you got the horns. I mean, there's just
That's
so much
That
so
is
much
one of the things. That is one of the things I loved about this song, is because I kept. That's one of the things my wife and I talk about. It's just like, you don't hear music with horns anymore, or you really have to go find it. So when I heard the horns in this song, I was like, oh my gosh, I love that. Just because I grew up. I mean, we grew up. It was normal to hear horns or a saxophone or those types of instruments in
Chicago.
yeah, Chicago and other bands like that, and you just don't
Earth,
hear
Wind, and
it
Fire.
anymore.
No, well, you got to pay extra musicians if you're gonna do that. So, yeah, dude. I mean, Chicago, Earth, Wind, and Fire, some of those old school bands. I love that stuff. But yeah, it really doesn't exist anymore. I mean, because you do have to pay people. So, I mean, I mean the economics of it is what it is. But this was a cool one because I was like, I mean, it does have a cool swing and it's got some really nice horns in it. And I don't know if they're real or not, but
Yeah, because I mean, he's got on here. This is why you buy the vinyl, people.
okay, educate me.
Because on here, where's it at? Horns on You Lead, I'll Follow. Darren Barrett, Darren Barrett.
I know that.
But yeah, because I mean, those are real horns on this album, and that's the other thing I think that I really appreciate about this is because this isn't, oh, I'm going to use AI, I'm going to use this stuff. It was real
I just thought it was
musicians.
keyboards.
Oh yeah, the keyboards.
Well, no, I
Who
thought
did
the
the
horns were coming out of the keyboards.
No, yeah, he's got the horn. It says here specifically, horns on You'll Lead, I'll Follow. And one thing I will say about this song is that this is the particular song that I was talking about. Listening to it on vinyl, you're done with side one. That is the last song on side one because I find myself just happy beat, love the lyrics on it. You had the horns. I thought that it had a very nice bass line in the song going through it. I mean, this song, I just found myself, I was in the kitchen getting something together and I had it on in the background and I just found myself moving to it, dancing to it, not, like ballroom dancing, but just kind of moving to the beat of the song. And so you end with that type of song. Like I said, it makes you want to flip the side and say, what's next?
Dang, man, this guy won the Thelonious Monk International Jazz Competition in 1997, and he is
Darren
currently
Barrett?
yeah, and he's currently a professor at Berklee College of Music. So, yeah, he's not to be trifled with.
Yeah, it says a Canadian jazz musician.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That
He's
is
got
so
a
cool.
freaking Grammy.
I mean, that is so cool that guy is on this album with Michael
Absolutely.
Sweet.
Yep. No, it's really awesome. I mean, I love it. So yeah, he attended he had a full ride to Berkeley. I should have done a little more homework, but sorry, y'all. But yeah, I mean,
Hey, the album did just come out 2 days ago, so
well, well, I'm aware. Just you know, usually try to do a little more homework. My word, he did not play with. He played with Herbie Hancock.
Are you serious?
I mean, unless Wikipedia's already screwed me up tonight, so unless this is wrong, but yeah, it looks like this guy's had a career so far. I don't even know how old he is, but
58.
dang. Yeah, so
At least that's what one thing said.
yeah, so
And we're trusting everything that the internet tells us.
he started Berkeley in '86, according to this. So dang. That's pretty amazing. Because
Yeah,
when I was
award-winning
listening.
jazz trumpeter, composer, bandleader, producer, and educator is his website.
Nice. Yeah, when I was listening to it, I was like, "Well, this sounds like keyboards, but maybe not."
I would say no, considering I'm going to go with what the liner notes say versus what the internet says at this point.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
So
Oh my gosh.
now we're flipping to side B. This is the back side. I didn't show the back side of the album cover, but this is flipping to the back side, and you're leading off with Desert Stream.
I love this song.
Yeah, this is yeah. This one, I tell you, lyrically, I mean, for me, the notes that I wrote while I was just listening to it just really speaks to, that again, he's our strength when we're weak. He fills us up. And and I mean, I don't want to say they're simplistic messages, but they're inspiring. They're to the heart. They move. And your poster just fell, so don't lean back. I don't want you to crush the poster behind you. And it just speaks to that. But I love the guitar on this one, and what it reminded me of. And again, this is just my opinion. People can agree or disagree with me on this. But what this reminded me of was almost Guardian's early days, like their Fire and Love album. When I heard the guitar, I was like, that to me kind of reminded me of Guardian's Fire and Love album. A couple of songs off of Fire and Love. But that's just my opinion. That's just what it took me to.
Man, that's a deep pull. And you know what? Since you said, I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, that's a really good pull. When I was listening to this, it just flows, but it has some of those kind of sing-along hop-ups in the book, like right here. It just pops, and that's what stuck out to me. But yeah, I mean, it's still a good song. It's just chill, and it swings, and it's got some of those, like I say, some of those vocals to me. It did remind me of some older stuff from Stryper, but I still like this song a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it really, to me, I love this song, and I haven't said this, but again, when you find out that not only was he the lead vocals, but he did all the background vocals on this album, vocally, once again, Michael Sweet just is incredible at that.
Yeah, he's
killing. He just crushes it.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's, you know, and that's the other thing. I mean, I know we're like shills for Stryper sometimes, but Michael Sweet is very underrated vocalist, and the fact that he's doing all of the backup stuff on this, I didn't know that until a couple days ago. So I was like, well, who's singing backup? It's like, no, it's all me.
Yeah, I know. It's
Dang,
crazy. But you know, like you just said, you know, we might be shills, or we might, you know, be paid undercover agents to say how much. But that's the reason we love this music so much, is not just because of its lyrical content, but because of the musical content and the talent that he has in putting this out. And I mean, it's just, you're not going to have a 40-year career and do over 40 albums if you suck. I mean, and so that's why it's so easy to talk about what these guys do, because, and especially what Michael Sweet does, is because of the fact that he is just a very talented musician. He's very gifted in what he does, but unfortunately, he's very underrated in some circles.
Well, I mean, it's the whole you're singing about God thing. I mean, there's no other like barometer for any of the other stuff. I mean, he can write a whole record in 10 days, and he has a 5-octave range, and he's a freaking sick guitar player. I mean, he has all the other guys around him that are doing the things, and they're also awesome. But I mean, man, you gotta put some respect on his name at some point. I don't know. I mean, I know Stryper's never getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or anything like that, but yeah, he's super underrated on multiple fronts.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then leaving Desert, every time I look at it, just because I was around in the 90s, my brain reads Desert Storm, but it's Desert Stream. So I don't know how many times I read it and my mind would say Desert Storm, and then I'd have to reread it to say Desert Stream. But good grief, I even wrote it in my notes as Desert Storm. Oh my gosh. But leaving that song moves into another one of my favorites off of this album. And when I first heard this, I was like, Rolling Stones, kind of a Gimme Shelter vibe.
Yeah, and I mean, and Mike even said it on you and I both watched the listening party, and this was the Stones song with the Beatles bridge, and I totally see that. I mean, it's this is like, yeah, this front half is totally Stones, and then once you get to the bridge, it's more beatily. Yeah, but I
I mean,
mean,
I just right when I heard the guitar at the beginning of this song, I was like, I mean, I was already okay. We're 6 songs listened to, 7 songs in now, and I'm like, how much more? What else could he do to surprise me on this album? And then when I hear that Stones kind of vibe at the beginning of the songs, I just went, "Oh my gosh, he did it again!" He just wowed me with what he did on this particular album. And this album, this particular song too, as I said earlier, kind of has another favorite. It's another favorite of mine off of the album so far. I mean, again, no skippers, but this one kind of moves to the top for me. But I actually, when I heard certain aspects of this song, it kind of also, when I hear it vocally and musically, and in certain parts, not the whole song, it made me think of his first solo album, Michael Sweet, or if you want to call it 1994. It just kind of had that kind of vibe to it for me. I could see this song being picked up and being put on that album.
yeah, you know what? I could totally see that too. His first solo did have like it was more a blues based kind of vibe for a lot of the stuff that was on that record. So, yeah, but yeah, this one had like just a ton of swing to it, but when you get to the bridge, and I'm a bridge guy, my kids will tell you to a fault that I like the bridge in a song more than I actually like the song, but I love the bridge in the song because it does remind me of little Sergeant Peppery kind of thing. I mean, whatever. It has those freaking pop vocals, and that's what reminds me of the Beatles part of it. But yeah, he was getting real creative with a lot of stuff like that during this record. So, I mean, props for the creativity. I don't have that, but yeah, just yeah. The thing that impressed me about this record the most was how he interjected some of the, the pop end vocals in different songs. And I mean, it's not just in this song, but I mean throughout the record. I mean, heck, we're gonna get to the bottom of this, and probably my favorite song on the record.
Same here.
Still has that, just poppy vocals. So, but no, I love this song. It's got a Beatle vibe to it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't. I think I was so focused on the Stones vibe that I missed the Beatle vibe towards the bridge of the song. And when they were doing the bops again in that particular song, but this for me, like I said, it's another one that just stands out for me as one of my favorites because I mean, one of the bands that I grew up on mainly because my dad listened to them so much was the Rolling Stones. So I've just always liked that kind of music and vibe to stuff. So I hear that. I was like I said at the beginning of the song, what else could you do on this song? Oh my gosh. I mean, oh my gosh. There you go.
Yeah, that no, that I mean, I thought the way they blah, blah, structured the song was very cool because I mean, because when we were listening to the the release party or the launch party or whatever, and Mike actually was like, "Yeah, this is if the Stones and the Beatles had a baby," and he's not wrong. So I don't know. I like the way he combined that stuff together. So
I totally agree. I totally agree. So we're moving off of Believer and we're going to the other ballad on this album, which is Again, which this one came out, it was the third release. of that we did, and I probably listened to this one briefly once because I wanted to. I didn't want to listen to it because I wanted to be surprised by the rest of the album. But this, when you've lost someone, which I know we all have, someone that's close to us, and when I heard this song, it just kind of made me just think of probably the closest person that I've lost to me in my life was my father-in-law, and it's it just reminded me of him. And just like go ahead, looked like you were about to say something. You can go ahead. I'm gathering my thoughts.
I mean, this was a kind of a tough one for me because, because I knew kind of where the context was coming from, but it made me think about, okay, who's the last person that you lost? And I was like, well, that was my father, and also my father-in-law. And so, I've listened to this thing a few times now as I'm coming through the lyrics. I'm just like, okay, this was a hard listen because I had to process the people that I had lost, and and you know what? Good on you, Mike. If you're making people think about stuff in your writing, then you're doing your job. I mean, I've lost, like I say, I lost my father, I lost my father-in-law, and this song made me think about both of those guys. And so, yeah, it's a little rough, but music and art is supposed to make us think about stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm mad about it. It's just sometimes it's painful to think about, and it is. But, if somebody can bring that out of you, then you're good at your job. So I'm not hating on anybody about this song. I really like this song, but it was a little painful to deal with a couple times. So
I totally hear you on that. Because of, you lose someone. I mean, when you lose someone, you always say, if I could have had one more conversation, if I could have one more day, if I could have just one more, kind of last laugh, or one more, whatever it might
sure.
be. But then when he puts the song in this perspective, too, going, you're in a new place with no time or pace, where there's no resentment and nothing's displaced. You've been glorified, imperfection denied, and beautiful contentment. You're justified, and it's just like you can think about where they've passed and where they've gone on to. And I just love the last lyrics on this. I love you, old friend. I knew I'd see you again. And that's the hope that we have as Christians, is knowing that we will see them again and be able to rejoice with them. So it's like, the song kicks off, you know, left us too soon. And I mean, Michael Sweet wrote this album during COVID, and we lost my father-in-law during COVID. And that was like one of the roughest things I'd ever seen my family, my wife and my mother-in-law go through. And
Yeah, that
when I
sucks.
think about everything that happened with that in the hospital, it just pisses me off. But I just also know some of the things that he was dealing with physically, even before he got into the hospital. And it's just not that he was in terrible shape. I don't want to say that, but I mean, diabetes, things like that. And his body is made who he's got. I mean, that's what I just loved about it when he said, you've been glorified in perfection denied. I just know that he's not dealing with all the crap that he was dealing with. and his body when he was here. So that does bring that joy to me when I hear this song. Even though it's tough, even though gosh, it'll be 5 years this year, and it just still it just gives you hope, and I think that's the design behind this song is yeah, and I love the end. I love you, old friend. I knew I'd see you again.
Okay, didn't mean to go here.
Sorry.
No.
I knew this was gonna be a difficult song to talk about just because of the loss that
Well,
we've
for
experienced.
I know, but for those of us who for the people that are listening, Tim's father-in-law, like, kinda taught me how to play drums in church, like, as a worshiper. So, he was a big influence in my life, so I hadn't thought about it for a minute, so didn't realize it was gonna hit me that hard, so anyway, love to you, Dwayne.
Yeah, we miss you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, next
On to
song.
the next.
So you move to a song called Faith. It kinda it's not a I wouldn't call it a ballad, but, I just I love the lyrics on this song, though. Yeah, I mean, it's just talking about the faith. If you have faith
Yep.
like a mustard seed, you can move this mountain. He's got that in here. Hey, if for truly I say to you, if you will believe, then you can move mountains here, mountains there, anywhere. Faith will prove it to you. And then it just goes on. For we walk by faith, and not by sight. I mean, just scripture, just not necessarily a Bible story, but just scripture about faith thrown in here, and it's just to have faith, and God will move. And that's just something really powerful, with whatever somebody is dealing with. And sometimes I mean, for me, it's like God, I wanted you moving yesterday, not today, not tomorrow, not next week, yesterday. But it's just continue to press through. And I just love the lyrics. It's just like continue, because there have been times just in my life, just naturally, where things aren't going right, things don't seem to be happening. It's so easy to lose faith. So easy to lose faith. And
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
of
just a
course.
good reminder, like, hey, keep going. He's got you. Like what this whole album is talking about. He's got you.
Yeah, basically. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a guy thing, but it's like when you get in a certain spot, it's really easy to kind of like just lose your faith and not be praying and not be looking, or it's it is really freaking hard, especially when you're going through hard stuff. It's it's a, it's a I do this crap all the time. I mean, my faith when I'm in a valley, I guess I would call it. It's really easy for me to lose my spot. Like I'm kind of in it right now, but you still have to be faithful, and it's hard sometimes because we're only freaking human. So, I mean, I don't know, but yeah, this is a great song, and it really has a pretty good solo.
Yeah, it does.
I'm just, yeah. So, I mean, it's the context of the song is good, and I really like this song. But yeah, it does shine a light on, like, well, sometimes you have to have the faith, and sometimes it's hard. So, especially when you're going through stuff. But yeah, I really like this song. Well, you have to pay attention, and that's the thing that I always struggle with. It's like if I'm going through some stuff, it's like, all right, I'm not gonna be able to fix it by myself. And that's the part that I miss most of the time. You know?
I mean, it's a lot easier said than done, because there have been things that, you pray and it doesn't necessarily happen the way, and then there have been times I've gotten mad and it's just been like, God, why? Why did it turn out this way? And I think that's just where faith kicks in. Even when life throws you the deepest, darkest punches that you can do, where are you still going to stand at the end of the day? And because trust me, life ain't easy.
No, it's not. I mean, it's a great point, but I mean, it's hard to keep focused, I guess, on your faith when stuff is going sideways.
Yeah. And so that kicks us into the last song of the album. And I will say this about this last song, and then I'll get your thoughts. This is probably my favorite song on the album, or I should say my favorite song on the album right now.
No,
I
totally.
think that this song, there's just a couple of things about this particular song, is that, one, this was such a great song to release on Good Friday. I mean, he did the lyric video. I mean, the album was released on Friday, but he released the lyric video for this song on Friday. And I was sending it to people like, you got to hear this song. You got to hear the song. You got to hear this song. And every response I got back was like, that is a great song. And I just love this song, Worship You, because I think it just kind of sums up the whole album. I'm going to worship you. And I just loved how I think it's just a great closer for this album. I mean, in the song itself says exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to worship you, and I love that. I'm going to lift up my hands with worship you with everything that I am. I'm going to worship you. My life and soul is yours. I mean, just my life is yours. And I love the guitar solo on this one.
Yeah, no, this is probably my favorite song on the record. Because as I was going through this, I was like, okay, which songs could I play at church? And I don't even know if this qualifies, but it's close.
Yeah, this one is close.
But it's a praise song. So, and it's just kind of, I mean, it's kind of epic, and it's got some nice little open chords. It could be a church song, and I like the solo in this one too. And this is probably my favorite song on the record, because as I was listening to it, because Mike said it's an inspirational record, or I don't know if he used the term worship or not, but this one was, I mean, it's called Worship You, so yeah, I was kind of rolling through it in my head. I was like, could we play this at my church? I think we could, because it does have like some spacing in there that people can raise their hands, and there's some cool vocals in there, and I don't know. I was kind of getting into it, and it's like, well, dang, we could probably play this in church.
Yeah, I mean, this song, when I first hear it, just because, when I'm sitting there hearing the song and then I'm watching the lyric video, and, it's like, wow, it's, crucifixion weekend, it's Good Friday, it's resurrection weekend, it's everything that's going on, it's like, yes, I'm going to worship you. And this song, I mean, I got to stop, the guitar solo's on. I
would love to play this in church.
And this is the one that brought tears to my eyes, just because of the joy that it just brings in your heart. reminding you of what he did and why I'm going to worship him. And that's why I just think it was just such great, just what a day to release this song.
And
As
I
a
love this
person,
space right here
yeah.
with those vocals in the back and the spacing.
And then you know that's him. That's Michael
Yeah.
Sweet. All background vocals, Michael Sweet.
I know, it's freaking crazy. But there's so much, God, there's so much space right there. And I'm just like, man, I could totally see this in church.
And I mean, I loved it because I was listening to it so much. I mean, I took my mom to lunch today. We went down to Athens, listened to it all the way down there, you know?
Did she
Then we
like it?
get- Then we get back in the car. Guess what I'm listening to again? I'm listening to because, I mean, literally from her house to the restaurant was the length of this album, 40 minutes. So we
Nice.
got to listen to it. She had already been listening to it before I got in the
Okay.
car. And so she said she loved it. And then my wife was just like, oh man, I mean, so this album to me, when people hear Michael Sweet, you just have to say this is not your typical Striper album. Don't think Striper album. Don't think Michael Sweet solo album. Think inspirational album. Put all the prejudices or thoughts in your head of what it's going to sound like, because being a fan of Michael Sweet's for 40 plus years, never would have expected this. And this like I said at the beginning of the show, it exceeded what I was expecting. I can't tell you how much this album speaks to me, moves me, and how much I just love listening to it. It is going down as one of my favorites. This is something that I'm going to be listening to all the time because it's something I can listen to them. Because sometimes, when I wake up in the morning, it's like, oh, I'm not there yet. I'm not there ready to listen to something hard yet, or I'm not there yet. But this is something I can throw on in the morning when I first wake up, midday, evening. It's just, I can listen to it anytime. And then I had my son listening to it, my 7-year-old, and he was liking it as well. So it's such an incredible album. I've gushed on it. I love it. I love this album.
No, I mean, I'm with you, man. It's a really great record, and we love Mike and we love Striper, but it's a different, I mean, a different path, but there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, he can do what he wants to, but if you're doing I hate inspirational, but that's what he kind of labeled it as. But I mean, I was, like I said, I was trying to figure out which songs I could play at church, and I only have like two. So, but the flavors that are, interlaced in these songs are just like they're so different and they're so creative, and so I'm really impressed because it did give him, I feel like it gave him a platform to just do whatever the heck he wanted to on his stage, and this is what we got, and it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, and I love and I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I think where it says a message from Michael in the liner notes, he opens it up. Ever since I was a little kid, I was fascinated by and drawn to all styles of music. You know, so many other 50s, 60s. I skipped a couple of sentences there, but others 50s, 60s, and 70s artists at family get togethers. So, I mean, he was drawn to such an influence of music growing up. He was listening to all types of different things that you can end up with an album like this with so many different vibes to it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and he had talked about this before. I mean, he said his dad was a big musical influence as far as what he was listening to in the house, and it was like, you know, freaking Stones, Beatles, and all the stuff that you had in the late '60s and whatever. But yeah, I mean, you can hear a ton of that stuff on this record. I mean, it's not metal. It's there's just a lot of different creative vibes there, and I mean, Good for him, dude. I really enjoyed this record. I'm just it's interesting because, we we know Mike, you know, songwriter, heavy metal dude and Striper, and we know him doing all his other stuff with, Lynch or whatever the heck. This was a very much a detour from a lot of the stuff that we know about Michael Sweet.
Yeah, I
He
would probably say the biggest other detour that I can recall is when he did the album Hymn, and it was basically a bunch of hymns at that point that he recomposed and did them his own flavor. But
forgot
this
about
is
that.
but this is him doing his own music, his own material, his own, he's not recomposing something else,
It's
but
all original.
it's
Yeah.
it's all original.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, this is like I say, this is a really different record, and it it's not I mean, to me, like I say, it's not something I would wanna, because I was sitting here thinking, "Dang, what how can we fix these songs to play in church or whatever?" And it's like, "Alright, calm down, dude." But I could put this in my car with my kids, and it really is it's a really easy listen, but the lyrics are powerful, and there's a lot of different flavors on this thing. I mean, I love the Beatle vibe on a couple of these songs, and I love that he did, like, all the backups, and it's really cool. I mean, there's yeah, like I say, I don't really have a skipper on here, but
I know I'm the same way. I don't have one that I'm skipping on this album.
yeah, so I mean, man, that's a I mean, pretty monumental kind of thing. It's like, all right, I'm gonna release I won't say worship record, but it's a inspirational record. And all the songs are solid.
Yeah. They absolutely
So
are. I totally agree with you, and I mean, like I said at the beginning of the show, he didn't plan for this to come out the weekend that it did, but for this album to come out the weekend that it did is totally, like I said at the beginning of the thing, it's just such a God thing, that it worked out that way.
yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, I've been listening to this thing all weekend, so I mean, yeah, it's a great timing, and God's timing is always perfect. So yeah, I mean, this thing is it's really awesome. I hope this gets out. I mean, I'm gonna send it to all my people, but I hope I hope people listen to this thing because you know, it's pretty powerful.
It's lyrically, it's powerful. The lyrics in it are just so, I mean, not that I would expect anything different, but I mean, it is just so
Right.
pointing you back to God, just
Yeah,
pointing
and
you back to God.
yeah, and for the most part, you're never gonna get a Michael Sweet inspired anything that doesn't point you back. So, I mean, lyrically, he's he always does the same thing, and I'm not saying that in a bad way at all, but he's always pointing you back to the cross. So, yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed this record way more than I thought I would
Yeah,
because
same here.
I really didn't know what I was in for when it came out, and so the fact that the flavor of it was so different and the lyric I mean, I knew what the lyrics were gonna be because I mean, it's freaking Michael Sweet, but, I mean, I knew what the lyrics were gonna be, but some of the flavors of the songs, I was like, "Okay, that's a little different," and he was some of the vibes were I mean, Desert Stream for me was just like it was I don't know. And there's a couple songs on here that I'm just like, "Okay, this obviously ain't a Striper song, and it's obviously not a Michael Sweet song," but there's a lot of different vibes on this record, and I was very impressed about what came out, so that's what I'll say.
Yeah, so was I. I was very much looking forward to it, and I know that this album sat on the shelf for years. I mean, because he said he wrote it during COVID, and he's been wanting to get this album into our hands. And I couldn't be more pleased that it's finally in our hands, especially now listening to it as many times as I have from front to back. And again, opening up with the master plan, landing on You'll Lead, I'll Follow on side A, back to your thing, opening up on second, flip the album, flip the vinyl. You got Desert Stream, and then closing with Worship You. I mean, it just the sequence of this album is just incredible. So I'm like you. I almost just want to, and I don't want to send it. I don't want to send it via Spotify. Almost, I want to buy a physical copy and give it to like different people that I know, just because. And I'll tell you why. When I was having lunch, I'm going to tell on my son, my middle son, earlier. I have found when I send music via Spotify that they're not listening to it because I can't tell you how many times I have sent him the album 6, and then apparently he mentioned to you the other day, "Yeah, I've never listened to an Extreme song." And I'm like, "I've sent that
Boy,
album to you like 4 different times. What do you mean you haven't listened to that album?" And so
kids are lazy.
I realize if I just send it via Spotify that it probably wouldn't be like, "Oh, okay, that's something," and then it gets lost in text messages and it's not, listened to. But if I give a physical copy, but at the same time, what's he gonna go listen to it on? He doesn't have a CD player or so that's the challenge that I have with that is but I would love to give just copies too because it's maybe maybe one day when they have that CD player, "Hey, let me put this in," and it just plays they play it right at the right time, and it just speaks to them. But no, I mean, Master Plan, incredible album, and we're also, 30th episode, man. This is our 30th episode.
Wow. That's insane. But well, I mean, I'm glad we got this far. I'm glad I mean, had a heck of a time talking about this record because I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, I mean, I know we do a Striper podcast and Striper's the greatest and whatever, but I mean, not for nothing. This is a really good record and I don't give a crap if you're a Striper fan or what. I mean, I know you know, they they have a certain style of music and certain people don't dig it, but this record, I mean, it's solid across the board. If you don't like metal, I mean, it's a really good inspirational kind of record. So yeah, I mean, there's not much else I can say about it. It's really it's well produced. There's some really good musician work on it, and so I don't know. I think I don't know. This is a album you could play for your girlfriend, and they would dig it.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said so many times before, now my wife, there are certain Striper songs she likes, but she's not pulling Striper out of on her Spotify playlist and listening to them. She listens to them because I'm listening to them at that time. But
Right.
this album is one she was listening to it on Friday when I was playing it in the house, and she heard it and she goes, "I really like this. I can listen to this." So, like you just said, it's going to hit different musical styles of people I don't normally listen to.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna send this to my mom. I mean, and I think she'll like it. It's just it's like I say, it's not heavy. Lyrics are strong as all get out, and hey, it's a good record. It's like I say, it's not like every other thing that you've ever heard Michael Sweet do. So
Right.
good for him. He
Yeah, good.
did a great job.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. So there we go. Episode 30, to hell with the podcast. We talked about the master plan. It dropped 2 days ago, but by the time we drop this episode, it'll be 4 days old, 4 or 5 days old. And hope if you haven't taken a listen, be sure to take a listen to it. It is as I said at the top of the show, phenomenal, phenomenal album. Go out and listen to it. I think you've heard today how much Daryl and I actually really, really enjoy this album. I mean, it'll have you thinking, it'll have you crying, it will have you dancing, it will have you bopping your head, and it just speaks to you as well. So, but again, we appreciate you listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe to wherever you listen to your podcast at. So we love you guys. We appreciate it. And we will see you next time right here on To Hell with the Podcast.
Love you guys.